What's going on, guys? Derek here from Wilson Audio Labs. Today we're going to look at another one of the amps from the Flea Market series. That's right, today is the American Legacy, the LA3090D. 3,000 watts all day long, yeah right. If we look at usedprice.com, we'll see this amp was available in 2005, 2,400 watts by 1 at 2 ohms is what it says here. If we look at the old website for Pyramid, we can see the amp here. And yes, it looks like it sold for about 140 bucks, 138.92 to be exact. And then we also found an advertisement from a 2005 Car Audio and Electronics. Proud to be an American. That's right, buy you one of these. And here is the manual for the LA3090D. Some of the notable things about it. 1 ohm stable. It does have a 24 dB per octave, low pass and subsonic. It's rated 400 watts at 4 ohms, 800 watts at 2 ohms, and up to 1,200 watts at 1 ohm. Again, here's the exterior of the amp. You can see very shiny. It has these 2 windows. You can see inside of the amplifier to kind of see what the guts look like. It has a red circuit board there. And let's check out the dimensions of the amp. It's pretty big, 16 inches long by 11 inches wide. And then the thickness of the amp is right around 2 inches, 1.9 inches or 48 millimeters. Now we'll take a look at each end of the amp. You can see there are RCA line outputs and line inputs. Both of those are left and right. It has a power and protect LED and also remote bass boost connection. On the other side, it has the speaker terminals, 2 40 amp fuses, and then it has the connections for ground, remote, and 12 volt. Now, it does have 2 speaker terminals, but this is a monoblock amp. So you can use one or the other or just use both for dual voice coil. It has 2 40 amp fuses, and then on the top here, you can see there are 3 adjustment knobs and 1 switch. What's that all about? Well, one of them is a level control, the other is a phase shift. Then we have a low pass filter and then the subsonic filter. Here you can see 0 to 180 there for the phase shift, so not a lot of control. And the subsonic goes from 15 up to 40 hertz. So with these screw down type terminals, it's really hard to fit anything other than around 4 gauge using spade connectors for the power and ground. So that's what we use for the amp. Again, here you go, you can see the inside, see the guts of the amp. We will take a look at the guts after the dyno test, so make sure you stick around for that. Speaking of dyno test, let's fire up the good old amp dyno and let's get the amp strapped up, get it ready to test so we can find out if this thing really does anywhere near the power that it's rated. First off, at 4 ohms, rated 400 watts, 14.4. First test is certified, takes us to 1% total harmonic distortion. And yes, we get it, 468 at 14.3 volts, very nice. Uncertified is next, takes us up to the clipping point of the amp. We expect to get a little bit more than certified, and we do. Almost 500 watts, 491 at 14.22. Dynamic sends a pulse tone at 40 hertz into the amplifier. 496, can we get 500? Not quite, 496 at 14.27. Now, let's check the efficiency out. 73.8% at 4 ohms, which is not very good for a Class D amp. Now, let's move on to the 2 ohm test. It's rated 800 watts at 14.4 volts. Again, first up, certified. Let's see if we can get that at 800 watts. Not quite. Only 730 watts. Oh well. Let's try uncertified. And yeah, we did get the 800 watts here. 828, 14.21. Dynamic burst. Let's see if we get it to 40 hertz pulse tone. Easily get 800 watts. 866. Yep, 866, 14.28. Efficiency, yeah, not very good. 61.4% at 2 ohms. That's abysmal for a Class D amp. All right, so here at the 1 ohm test, what you'll notice is the amp doesn't count up cleanly, which means the power is not clean. You'll hear me talk about it here right after we see the amp fail to meet its rated power. All right, we got into some, what I would say is dirty power. Didn't quite get there, 925 at 14.44. All right, since the amp didn't count up clean or even get close certified, I didn't think it would get anywhere near it uncertified, but look at this, 1173, and we weren't quite at 14.4, so I think at 14.4 we get that 1200 watts. Pretty incredible. Now dynamic, let's see what we get, and check this out. What? Yeah, boy! Say it ain't so. 1437 watts at 14.33. What? All right, so unfortunately the efficiency at 1 ohm was just horrible, 51.6%. And there's another question that comes up all the time. Hey, Big D, this amp's got 240 amp fuses. It pulled 124.1 amps. How is that? Well, let's join the Big D whiteboard real quick. For the amp dyno, we do signal or current versus time, and what it does is it ramps up the signal, so it goes from minus 30 dB up to 0 dB, so you have a very short period where you're hitting that over the fuse rating. Now with music, what happens is the signal goes up and down based on the beat of the music and all that, so you hardly ever see anything above the fuse rating. That's how it works. Class session over. All right, Professor Wilson, thank you for that eloquent description of how the amp dyno works and why it doesn't blow fuses. But next up, we're going to take a closer look at this amp. Well, you get kind of a peek, right? Because the amp has got, these two windows here, so you can kind of see what's going on. There's only 8 screws holding on this chrome-plated cover. Once we take those 8 screws out, yep, there you go. Red circuit board and a lot of yellow components. Not sure who chose the colors here, but it does kind of have some contrast going on. It does give you some ideas of what's inside. And yeah, there you can see it. Lots of capacitors, lots of electronics going on. We didn't like how this amp was dirty, so we had to clean it up a little bit. And we did notice 105 degrees Celsius caps for the rails, 1000 microfarad, 63 volts. And then for the input filtering, had 2200 microfarad, 25 volts. That's kind of standard for input filtering on Class D amps. And here again is the shot. Unfortunately, I didn't get shots of the transistors and everything to give you model numbers and all that like Sam normally does. But we'll do that in the future. But yeah, you already seen what power it does. So let's move on to the subwoofer test, see how it does with a subwoofer. So stay tuned, get out your headphones, and let's jam. All right, next up, we'll talk about the results. Yeah, this is not the typical Flea Market amp. This amp actually did its rated power, and pretty incredibly, actually, for the price. You can see at 4 ohms, it did over 400 watts. 1 ohm, it would have done over the 800 watts, would get enough juice uncertified. And then 1 ohm, yeah, we got right there at it as well. So now let's talk about the good stuff. It did rated power at clipping. It does have a remote-based control. I didn't show that. 105 degrees Celsius caps, 24 dB per octave for the crossover and the subsonic filter. Relatively inexpensive. The looks, I don't know what you think. Some people might think it looks pretty cool because you can see the amp guts, has a chrome-plated cover, all that. Now let's talk about stuff that could be better. Low efficiency for a Class D. Absolutely abysmal efficiency, especially at 1 ohm. The finish scratches very easily. Has a big 3000 watts on the amp. We know that's not true. The output at 1.3 and 1 ohm was not clean on the certified test. Yeah, you got the status of this being a flea market app, and some people would say it does not look very good, D. What's wrong with you? Alright guys, there you have the test of the American Legacy LA3090D from 2005. It surprised me. Being a flea market amp, this amp actually did pretty well. So I appreciate, as always, you guys for watching, smashing the like button below, commenting on the video, telling what you think about this flea market amp. Till next time, you know where Big D is. I'm testing more amps. For now, I'm out of here.